What's going on, guys? Happy Friday and welcome back to the random video blog where every single Friday right here on the show, I, Graham GSM Matthews, run down my rambling wrestling thoughts, share a few stories, etc., etc. Obviously a pretty big week, or, a semi-relatively big week in wrestling, at least for WWE. From Extreme Rules, Raw, SmackDown, all the usual stuff. Decent pay-per-view last Sunday, talked all about on Wrestle Rant Radio hashtag. Today I was going to talk, but I had no set topic up until like 20 minutes ago. Literally 2 minutes before I started recording this video. I'm like, maybe I'll talk about this instead. That being the whole Kurt Angle, for lack of a better term, happening on Raw recently. The whole mystery as to who's behind it, all this other stuff. Because I really haven't talked about it at all on Wrestle Rant Radio or hashtag. I just keep on forgetting to talk about it. I was going to talk about the Cruiserweight division just because that's been a hot topic recently too. Should WWE pull the plug on 205 Live? I might write a separate article about that for like Hidden Remote at some point, but I feel like I'd be beating a dead horse at this point for the YouTube content. I talked about it on hashtag. I talked about it on Wrestle Rant Radio. I pulled a clip from that show to the channel yesterday as a clip from Wrestle Rant Radio on Thursday yesterday, so check that out when you can. But yeah, like I said, I figured I would talk about the whole Kurt Angle storyline going on in Raw recently. For all the complaints, for all the, again, hatred might be a strong word, but for all the criticisms, I guess is the best way to describe it, of Raw recently and how boring it's been, how bad it's been, how lackluster it's been. And I will agree, Raw has not been as good as it could be and has been in the past. I mean, I'm not going back 15 years here to the fucking Attitude Era, but I'm talking about even like a few months ago, like right after WrestleMania, even like fucking 2 months ago, coming out of WrestleMania, Raw was pretty decent on a weekly basis, sometimes beating SmackDown in terms of being better on an overall, on an overall scale. But recently, for the past month or so, it just feels like they've been spinning their wheels. Now, I will say, attention to the shirt here, obviously referencing the shirt, the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar thing, it's only been fucking like 2 days, but it's been great so far. I thought the main event on Sunday's show was awesome. Joe's Heyman segment on the Samoa Joe Paul Heyman segment on Raw this week was also equally excellent. So I will say that's something that is to watch out for, something I'm excited to look out for in the weeks ahead, heading into Great Balls of Fire, something I can't believe they're actually calling one of their shows, but whatever. But another thing I've been liking about Raw recently is the Kurt Angle storyline. Now, of course, for those uninformed, have no idea what I'm talking about, I think it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago at this point, where Kurt Angle was confronted by Corey Graves, who just left out of nowhere on commentary. And at that point, people are on Twitter like, what the fuck just happened? I hope Corey's okay. That is what we need more of on Raw. Like, more things that break the formula. It feels like every single fucking week, it's match, backstage segment, promo, match, go to commentators, match, promo, backstage. It's like the same formula every single week. And I know that's what has worked for them in the past, but the ratings are in the shitter, so it's obviously not working anymore. And it takes away from that must-see feel the show should have, considering it's the flagship show, it's the most exciting, unpredictable show in WWE, and it's really not. You get that with SmackDown and NXT, and, even not really 205 Live, but for other wrestling shows, you get that must-see feel. Raw, you don't get that whatsoever. You don't get that at all. You just get the same shit every week. And there are some good things to say about Raw, this being one of them. And I like how they broke away from the formula for this whole Kurt Angle storyline. So like I said, Corey Graves leaves commentary halfway during one of their spiels about whatever, talking about random nonsense. He goes backstage, talks to Kurt Angle, shows him a text, a meme, a picture, whatever, that just blew up online of Kurt Angle just awkwardly looking at his phone. They continue the angle on Monday's Raw with Kurt Angle saying, they didn't really say anything else about it. He was just continuing to read his phone and saying this would damage my reputation, this would ruin me, blah, blah, blah. The first thing I thought of, and it's still intriguing me, I don't want to lie, because I did say on Twitter immediately after the fact this was revealed that I was intrigued for like 2 seconds before then I realized that it's probably Stephanie McMahon. I will say I'm still semi-interested. I just have this very, very, very bad feeling it's Stephanie. And that fucking sucks. I mean, I think we all know that Stephanie will be back at some point in the near future. It's only inevitable. I get it. It's going to happen. It's like death and taxes in the 3-hour Raws. It's only inevitable. And there's nothing we can really do to change that. But I wish it would not be used for this storyline. The absolute last thing that Raw needs right now is a battle for authority. How many fucking times have we seen that? Not even in the last 4 years since the whole dawn of the authority with Triple H and Stephanie, but dating back 17, 18 years, 20 years since Vince McMahon became a heel authority figure on Raw. This is going back almost 20 years at this point. It is ridiculous. We finally got away from that in pretty much every promotion. I watch Impact Wrestling. We don't really have that anymore in TNA. Ring of Honor, I know, doesn't have that, at least right now. SmackDown doesn't have that. Raw now no longer has that with Stephanie no longer around. The whole Mick Foley-Stephanie thing was a complete waste of time. That did nothing to help anybody. And now I fear they only brought in Kurt Angle to feud with Stephanie over the GM spot, which would be the absolute worst thing they can do. Angle as GM has been very entertaining. It's a breath of fresh air. It's great. It's the perfect role for Angle, especially if, and I hope he does, return to the ring at some point in the near future. Maybe like not next month, but maybe at some point between now and WrestleMania next year, even if it was for one more match. We just need to see one more Kurt Angle match in WWE. Now, if this does lead to Kurt Angle getting back in the ring, that's great. Against Triple H, you know what? It's fine. They had great chemistry back in the day. They had awesome matches. It's not a big deal. What I'm not looking forward to is Stephanie being the one to come out and say, I'm going to fucking ruin you, and just cut Angle's balls off right from underneath him, like she has done with The Big Show, with Mick Foley, with pretty much every fucking babyface in the roster. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose. Literally, the list goes on and on and on and on. Of all the people she has completely castrated over the past 4 years. Now, Stephanie is a great character. She knows how to be a bitch. I will give her that. But it's something that we have seen time and time again, to the point it's like it's ruining our Raw experience. And Raw, as it is, it's not terrible. I don't want people to call it terrible. And if you think it is, that's your own opinion. That's okay. I'm not going to say it's been terrible. It's been boring. It's been formulaic. It's been predictable, more so now than really ever before. But it's not been like, oh my God, I'm going to change the channel. Other than the This Is Your Life thing, which fucking blew, obviously. That was terrible TV. But beyond that, it hasn't been like terrible. The only time when it's like unbearable to watch for me is when Stephanie's on there cutting down someone, like a member of the roster. And she never gets her comeuppance. They never get revenge on her. With the exception of Rollins inadvertently pushing her through a table, which was really Triple H. After Rollins pushed Triple H into Stephanie, it was really Triple H pushed her through a table. Other than that, she never gets her comeuppance. And I know Roman Reigns speared her at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan did a tope, a suicide dive, whatever, at WrestleMania 30. She only really seems to get her comeuppance if you can. It's really weird, actually, if you really think about it. For the past 4 years, the only time she's ever got her comeuppance is at WrestleMania. Like this year with Seth Rollins, last year with Roman Reigns, at WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan, and at WrestleMania 31 to an extent with Ronda Rousey, when she threatened to put her in the armbar. A follow-up we never got, by the way, a match we never ended up seeing, which sucks. I thought we were going to see it at WrestleMania 33, never did anyway. But, yeah, I just really hope it's not Stephanie. Now, I did put, I hope it's not Stephanie, I'm going to put that in the title, maybe not, who knows, but what I hope to see come out of this, I don't know who it could be, if it's Corey Graves, that would be pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to put Corey back in the ring. I mean, if they weren't going to put him back in the ring 3 years ago, I don't think they're going to put him back in the ring now. Times have changed. When someone's retired, they stay retired in WWE. A la Sting, Daniel Bryan. I don't see him coming out of retirement, but it would be cool. Maybe he manages whoever it is. Again, if it's not Stephanie, and I hope to fucking God it's not, another heel on the roster could benefit from it being them. Like a Samoa Joe. I don't know why it would be Samoa Joe, but a Joe Angle feud in WWE was one of the hottest feuds ever in TNA for a long period of time. Sign me up. That would be cool. Bray Wyatt, no real interest, but it'd be better than... Pretty much anything would be better than Stephanie. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other possibilities, but it's up to them to really create compelling storylines and outcomes and possibilities for who this person might be. If I could predict it right here on the show, then it might not be that all unpredictable. So maybe they can come out of left field with someone that could make sense and would be awesome to see. I've heard American Alpha, just because he's an Olympic gold medalist and they're bringing up his DUI history. I doubt they would even acknowledge that, but it'd be pretty interesting. American Alpha has not been seen on SmackDown in a month. so it would be something new, I guess. I don't know. There's a couple different like legit possibilities I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, though, I really, really, really hope it's not Stephanie. So I wanted to talk about that here today. I didn't really have anything else. It wasn't very much a newsworthy week in wrestling other than the pay-per-view on Sunday. So I figured I would just talk about that. But yeah, thanks guys for the support. Basically, I know it's kind of an anticlimactic ending, but I appreciate your support. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and of course, check back every single day for new content and share the video too. So that being said, we'll be back next Friday with another all-new episode of the Random Video Blog. Again, topic to be determined. I know Money in the Bank is next Sunday. I've done my favorite Money in the Bank ladder matches before. Maybe something else Money in the Bank themed. We'll see. But in the meantime, and in between time, folks, I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll catch your ass down the road.